Cousins treated my new house like theirs, until they saw where the truck was really going. When I finally bought my dream house, I thought the hard part was over. Years of saving, sleepless nights, juggling freelance gigs, and sacrificing vacations had finally paid off. The house wasn't a mansion, but it was mine. 3 bedrooms, a wide front porch, a peaceful backyard, and a kitchen that didn't feel like a closet. I had barely unpacked when the calls started coming in. "Yo, heard you got the new place," my cousin Derek said over the phone. "We're pulling up this weekend. Gotta break it in." Break it in? I love my cousins. I really do. But they're the kind of people who treat any space they walk into like a public park. Feed on furniture, loud music, food left out, and somehow there's always something broken after they leave. I had hoped that owning a home would change how they treated me. You know, adult to adult. Homeowner to visitor. I was wrong. That weekend, 4 of them showed up in one truck. Derek, Jasmine, her boyfriend Kev, and little cousin Tracy. No heads up, no, "Can we crash at your place?" Just a truck full of people, blasting music like they were arriving at a festival. They brought bags, snacks, and enough attitude to fill the garage. Derek was the first to drop his duffel on my freshly mopped floor. "This place is tight. Dibs on the master." I blinked. "The master's mine. You can take the guest room." Kev was already flopping onto my new suede couch with a bottle of soda. "We'll figure it out," he said, kicking off his shoes right onto the coffee table. By Saturday night, it looked like a college frat had taken over. They invited friends over for a mini party, raided my fridge, and used my new towels like they were hotel linens. Jasmine had even posted a selfie in my bathroom with the caption, "Living it up in our new spot." That was the last straw. I didn't say anything immediately. I'm not a confrontational person, and I thought maybe they'd get the hint after a day or two. Maybe they'd realize they were guests. But nope. By Monday, Kev had moved his gaming console into my living room, and Tracy had spilled juice on the rug and tried to hide it under the coffee table. That night, I sat in my bedroom scrolling through my phone, trying to cool off, when a text popped up from the moving company, confirming truck arrival tomorrow at 9 a.m. I smiled. The next morning, I made pancakes and acted like everything was fine. Derek was bragging about getting a job interview somewhere close, since I might just stick around. Jasmine asked if she could redecorate one of the rooms to make it more her vibe. 9:02 a.m., the moving truck pulled up. Derek looked confused. "You ordering furniture?" "Nope," I said, sipping my coffee. They watched as 2 movers stepped out and started opening the back. One of them waved. "Ready to load?" "Yep," I said, putting my cup down. "Let's start with the living room." The room fell silent. Kev looked up from his game. "Wait, load? You're moving." I nodded. "Yep. Didn't I tell you? This house was just temporary. The actual place I bought finally finished construction. I'm moving into it today." "You bought another house?" Jasmine said, eyes wide. "Then what's happening to this one?" "I'm renting it out," I said, heading for the hallway. "Already got tenants signed. They move in tomorrow." Derek scoffed. "Wait, so we gotta pack?" I turned slowly. "Nope. You don't have to pack anything because you're not coming." Their jaws dropped. "I gave you all a chance," I continued. "I thought you'd respect my space. I thought maybe we'd hang out, catch up, and then you'd go home. But you treated my house like a free Airbnb with no rules. So no, you're not invited to the real place." They started stammering, throwing out excuses. "We were just having fun. You should have said something. Your family, we thought it was cool." I shrugged. And I thought family respected each other's boundaries. The movers started carrying out the boxed-up kitchenware. I'd spent most of Sunday night packing my essentials and staging it like nothing had happened. Cousins sat there, stunned, watching as the living room emptied. By noon, the truck was full and I was locking the door. "You've got until the end of the day," I told them calmly. Leave the keys on the counter. Derek stood up. You're really gonna do this? Yup. And I did. The real house? Even better than the first. Taller ceilings, more privacy, and best of all, no uninvited guests. They haven't tried to visit since. Funny how quickly respect kicks in when they realize the truck's not heading toward a party, it's heading toward peace. I was halfway to the new house, truck rumbling behind me, when my phone lit up. It was Jasmine. Jasmine, you're overreacting. It's just a house. Just a house. I didn't reply. But 10 minutes later, I got another message. This time from an unknown number. Unknown, you think you're better than everyone now? Cool. Just remember who always had your back when you were broke. Didn't take a genius to figure out who that was. Derek, with his bruised ego and twisted sense of loyalty. That night, I got my first taste of real peace. No music shaking the walls. No fast food wrappers in the kitchen. I made dinner in silence, unpacked a few boxes, and lit a candle that no one was going to knock over. But peace doesn't last long when people can't stand seeing you happy. 2 days later, my realtor called. Hey, weird question, she said. Did you give your family a key to the old house? No, I said. Why? There's graffiti. On the garage door. Says something like fake family gets fake houses. We filed a police report. Neighbors are pissed. I felt my chest tighten. They wouldn't. They did. That night I drove back to the old place. Tenants hadn't moved in yet, and the street was quiet. But there it was, black spray paint slashed across the pristine white garage. I parked, stepped out, and took a picture. Then I called the police myself. 20 minutes later, an officer arrived. He asked if I had any suspects. I hesitated. Family, I said quietly. Or people I used to think were family. He nodded like he'd heard that one before. The next morning, I posted the picture on Facebook. No caption. No angry rant. Just the image. It didn't take long. Derek commented first. You really called the cops on us? Wow. Then Jasmine. This is petty. Airing family business online. But the replies weren't what they expected. Aunt Lynn. This is shameful behavior. Your cousin worked hard for that house. Uncle Ray. Disgusted by how y'all treated him. Apologize. Friend after friend jumped in. I didn't even have to say a word. The court of public opinion had logged in, and it wasn't playing favorites. That weekend, Derek showed up at my new place. I watched from the window as he stood at the door, hands in pockets like a kid waiting outside the principal's office. I opened it, said nothing. I came to say sorry, he said, eyes low. We messed up. I messed up. I know, I said. But sorry isn't spray paint. It doesn't wash off in one try. He nodded. I'll clean it. I'll pay for it. That's not the point, I replied. The point is, you saw something good in my life, and instead of celebrating it, you tried to ruin it. He shifted uncomfortably. I was jealous, man. You got out. You got peace. You could have had that too. You still could. But not at my expense. He didn't argue. Just nodded and turned away. No dramatic goodbye. No pleading. Just silence. And maybe growth? I don't know if we'll ever be close again. But I do know this. That truck didn't just carry boxes. Carried boundaries. And the moment it pulled away, so did the people who couldn't respect them. And you know what? Best move I ever made. A few weeks passed. The graffiti got cleaned up. My tenants moved in. The locks were changed, and I thought I could finally put all of it behind me. Until one afternoon, I got a call from Aunt Lynn, Derek's mom. She didn't sound like herself. Her voice was tight, held together with threads. Derek's in the hospital. I froze. What happened? Car accident. He was driving late. They think he fell asleep at the wheel. He's stable, but it's bad. I sat down slowly, heart thudding. I hadn't spoken to Derek since that awkward doorstep apology. I'd stayed in my peace, kept my circle tight. But now? I didn't know what to feel. I went to the hospital the next day. He was wrapped in gauze, face pale, tubes running into his arms. When he saw me, something in his expression shifted, like he didn't expect me to come. He tried to speak, but the words got caught in his throat. I pulled a chair up beside him. "Don't talk," I said. "Just listen." And I told him everything. How I used to admire him as a kid. How I wanted to be like him, confident, fearless, untouchable. How hard it was watching someone I looked up to treat me like a doormat the moment I had something they didn't. "I didn't leave you behind," I said. "I just stopped letting you walk over me." His eyes welled up. "You didn't lose me, Derek. You pushed me." He blinked slowly, and for the first time in forever, I think he really heard me. We didn't hug. There were no violins playing in the background. Just quiet. Just clarity. In the weeks that followed, something started to shift. Jasmine reached out. Sent a real apology, no sarcasm, no excuses. She even Venmo'd me for a portion of the cleaning costs. Kev deleted every selfie he took in my house. Tracy, the youngest, sent a card that simply said, "I'm learning from your boundaries." It didn't fix everything, but it was a start. A few months later, I hosted my first official barbecue at the new house. Small crowd. Tight guest list. Cousins weren't invited. But around 7 p.m., just as the sun dipped behind the trees, I heard a soft knock at the side gate. It was Derek. He didn't try to come in. He just lifted a six-pack in one hand and said, "I brought lemonade." Thought maybe I'd start earning my spot again. I looked at him for a moment. Not with anger. Not with pain. But with the kind of understanding that only comes after fire and ashes. I nodded toward a folding chair near the edge of the lawn. "You can sit there for now." He smiled and took a seat. Quiet. Respectful. Not inside the circle, but close enough to try. And that's how healing begins, not with fireworks, but with small, steady choices. I thought the hardest part of owning a home was the mortgage. Turns out it's learning who can come through the front door and who needs to stay behind the gate. 6 months later, life had settled into a rhythm. I'd upgraded the backyard with string lights, a fire pit, and a garden that actually managed to stay alive. I had new neighbors, new peace, and a new understanding of boundaries. And then, one morning, I got a letter. Not an email. Not a text. A letter in an envelope with my name handwritten on the front. Inside was a short note. "Sometimes it takes losing the keys to realize what doors we never deserve to enter. I'm working on becoming someone who earns access, not demands it. One day, maybe I'll deserve a spare key again. Until then, I'm locking my own doors and opening new ones." It was signed Derek. I sat with that note for a while. And then I flipped it over. On the back was a photograph, an old one. Us as kids, standing on my mom's porch, arms around each other, grinning like the world was ours. It hit harder than I expected. But the twist? Tucked inside the envelope was a key. Copy of my old house key. Not the one to my current home. No, this was from the house they trashed, the one I'd left behind. Along with it was a small sticky note. Figured I should return what I never truly earned. I called the tenants later that day and asked if they'd noticed anything strange. "Oh yeah," one of them said. "Someone dropped off an envelope at the door last week. We thought it was yours. No break-in. No damage. Just a quiet, symbolic gesture." Derek didn't ask for another chance. He earned the possibility of one. I still haven't given him a spare key. But I kept the letter. And sometimes when I open the drawer where I put it, I remember something important. The house wasn't the only thing I reclaimed. I reclaimed myself. And that's a home no one can take from me again. And that's how it all went down. From uninvited couch surfers to boundary-breaking moments, from betrayal to quiet redemption. It wasn't just a story about a house, it was a story about respect, growth, and learning to draw the line between love and loyalty and letting go of people who only show up when there's something to take. And if you've ever had to reclaim your peace, set boundaries with family, or rebuild your space from scratch, then you already know sometimes the best way to love people is from a distance. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another one. Got a wild family story of your own? Drop it in the comments, I read them all. Until next time, protect your peace and your spare keys. Catch you in the next one.